Have you ever opened a bottle of wine that had great reviews, maybe even a 90-point score, and thought, why does this taste flat, or harsh, or just disappointing? Here's the hard truth no one tells you. The problem might not be the bottle. It might be how you're drinking it. Today, I'm breaking down the 5 most common beginner wine mistakes that quietly ruin good wine. These aren't etiquette rules. They're practical habits that directly change how wine tastes in your glass. And here's the best part. Fixing them costs you $0. Also, stay with me until mistake number 3. It's the one that ruins expensive red wines the fastest. Welcome to the Filipino YouTube channel, where we create wine education videos for beginners and wine lovers. Mistake number 1, the death grip. Mistake number 1 is what I call the death grip. It's when you hold the wine glass by the bowl, wrapping your hand around the liquid. It feels natural, it feels secure, but most of the time it's quietly changing the temperature of your wine. Your body temperature is around 98 degrees Fahrenheit. A crisp white wine like Sauvignon Blanc or Pinot Grigio is meant to be served around 45 to 50 degrees. When you cup the bowl, your hand acts like a radiator. Within minutes, you can raise the temperature several degrees. And when white wine gets too warm, the alcohol becomes more noticeable. The acidity softens, and the wine tastes heavier and flatter instead of crisp and refreshing. Now here's the nuance. If your wine is too cold, say you just pulled a Chardonnay straight from a very cold fridge and it feels tight or muted, holding the bowl can actually help. Your hand will gently warm the wine, bringing the aromas forward more quickly. So the death grip isn't always wrong. It's just usually wrong. The key is intentionality. If you want to preserve temperature, hold the stem. That's literally why it exists. It keeps your warm hands away from the liquid. Most beginners just aren't doing it on purpose. They're accidentally overheating a wine that was already at the right temperature. Pinch the stem between the thumb and the forefinger and let the base rest on your other fingers. It may feel delicate at first, but it keeps the wine at the right temperature from the first sip to the last. If you're using a stemless glass, that's fine. Just set it down between sips rather than holding it constantly. Mistake number 2, the overfill. Mistake number 2 is overfilling the glass. We do this because we're generous hosts or because we had a long day. But filling your glass to the brim is suffocating your wine. Up to 80% of what we perceive as taste actually comes from aroma. To release its aroma, wine needs oxygen. That's why we swirl. Not to look fancy, swirling introduces oxygen and releases aroma compounds locked inside the liquid. If your glass is filled to the top, you can't swirl without spilling. And even if you don't spill, there's no space for aromas to collect. You're missing the entire nose of the wine. Here's what we do instead. Pour to the widest part of the bowl, usually about 1/3 full, roughly 5 ounces. That empty space above the wine becomes an aroma chamber. Swirl, stick your nose in, and you'll immediately smell more fruit, spice, and complexity. Try this yourself. Pour 1 glass full and 1 glass 1/3 full. Swirl the smaller pour and smell it. You'll notice it immediately. And if you think this doesn't matter, wait until you see how much mistake number 5 affects what you buy in the first place. Mistake number 3, the room temp myth. This one might be the biggest flavor killer. We've all heard it. White wine in the fridge, red wine at room temperature. The problem is that room temperature originally meant drafty European castles sitting around 60 to 65 degrees. Today, most homes are 72 to 75 degrees. That is too warm for red wine. When you serve Cabernet or Merlot, at 75 degrees, the alcohol dominates. It tastes hot and sharp in the back of your throat. The fruit tastes cooked and the balance disappears. On the flip side, we often serve white wines too cold. If your bottle has been sitting in the back of the fridge all day, it can be so cold that the aromas are completely shut down. You'll mostly taste acidity and chill, not fruit or texture. It's like drinking something straight out of an ice bath. The complexity is there, you just can't access it yet. There's a simple rule I'll use, the 20-minute rule. For red wines, put the bottle in the fridge 20 minutes before serving. This brings it down to about 60 to 65 degrees. The alcohol feels smoother and the fruit becomes more vibrant. For white wines, take the bottle out of the fridge 20 minutes before serving. Let it warm slightly so the aromas can open up. Try this on a modest bottle tonight. Chill your red for 20 minutes before pouring. It will taste more polished immediately. Mistake number 4, the pop and pour. Mistake number 4 is opening a bottle and drinking it immediately, especially with young, bold red wines. Wine sealed in a bottle for years is tight and closed off. The tannins can feel aggressive. The aromas can feel muted. It needs air. You don't need a $200 crystal decanter. At home, you can substitute a simple carafe or pour the wine into a clean water pitcher, or simply pour a glass and let it sit for 20 to 30 minutes. Oxygen softens tannins and helps the wine open up. The texture becomes smoother, the fruit becomes more expressive. If you don't have time to wait, here's a quick trick. Swirl aggressively for 60 seconds, or pour the wine back and forth between 2 containers a couple of times. It forces oxygen into the liquid and speeds up the process. Do a side-by-side test. Taste the first sip right after opening, then taste again after air exposure. You'll notice it immediately. Mistake number 5, judging a book by its cover. The final mistake happens before you even leave the store, buying wine based purely on the front label. Marketing teams know exactly what grabs attention. Cute animals, heavy bottles, metallic foil, clever names. But a heavy bottle does not mean higher quality. It just means more glass and higher shipping costs. Often, the flashiest labels are mass-produced wines engineered for consistency and sweetness. Here's the smarter move. Turn the bottle around. Look at the importer. Many importers stake their reputation on selecting quality producers. If you find one bottle you love from a certain importer, there's a good chance you'll like others in their portfolio. Also, look for specificity. A label that says Napa Valley or Sonoma Coast must meet strict geographic standards. A bottle labeled simply California can pull fruit from anywhere in the state, often from high-volume vineyards. The more specific the region, the more controlled the sourcing tends to be. Start paying attention to the back label rather than the front artwork. It's one of the fastest ways to improve what you're buying. So here are the 5 simple fixes. Hold the stem, don't overfill, chill your red slightly, let bold wines breathe, and read the back label. These aren't fancy wine rituals. They're small adjustments that unlock more flavor from the bottle you already paid for. Now be honest in the comments. Which of these have you been guilty of? I'll admit, before I got serious about wine, I chugged down red wine without allowing it to breathe. If you want to take a step further and actually understand what you're tasting in the glass, watch my video on the 5 essential components of wine. That's the foundation for training your palate. Cheers.